This is a Big Brother 27 live feed update. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. Get me to 1,000 subs. All right, in this update, I'm going to talk about Rachel getting slime and a card. Of course, more than likely it's an advantage, but it's also a huge part of the reason why the feeds were down so much, especially earlier today. Then I'm going to talk about Ashley trying to start up a little resistance, but getting exposed primarily by Ava, and Will, I believe, was tagging along because, of course, he's going to play neutral. And then I'm going to talk about Mickey and Morgan heavily campaigning against Jimmy, who, by the way, has said even if he does stay in one HOH, he wouldn't go after the girls because he's gay and he blames the guys, I guess. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about the potential of a new alliance forming, something that Mickey is trying to start outside of Zach, Vince, and Morgan. But first things first, Rachel. So apparently on this Unlocked show, which I refuse to watch, People America, aka production, was allowed to vote who was the worst dresser in the house. And if this was a legit vote, Rachel would win it because she wears old lady costume jewelry and dresses, even though she's only 40 years old. So she actually deserves the moniker of worst dress, but of course it came with a card, which it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out. It's production aiding Rachel once again. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a veto power, just safety power for herself again, like she got week one, an HOH power. Hell, she might be able to choose the teams for the upcoming HOH, and whoever team wins, that whole team is, or whoever wins in that team, that whole team is protected. So obviously Rachel would pick people who would most likely win HOH, and then she gets protection that way. Who knows? Ultimately, we know that it's some more bullshit. And that's all I have to say about that. And oh yeah, and that same bullshit kept the feeds down for hours. So, thanks production, courtesy of Rachel, getting yet another advantage. Ashley, meanwhile, she shared with Ava, well, I should say Ava shared with Rachel about the whole, last minute vote thing involving Zach and Vince. And so obviously Ashley felt with that conversation, oh yeah, I can tell I can tell Ava stuff. And then of course she told Will about that. And basically she was trying to push them to keep Jimmy. But little did Ashley realize Ava is very committed to not just Will, but Mickey as well, which quite frankly, I haven't seen that relationship, but I guess that's what happens when the feeds are down a lot. Now I do remember earlier when Ava and Mickey were sleeping in those bunk beds, that same room. They worked together a lot, so there is evidence of that relationship that I've seen. But again, there's a lot that I haven't seen because the feed's been down. And of course, I'm not just obsessively watching the feeds all the time. But yeah, the main one that was leading the charge of exposing Ashley to Mickey, to the point where now Mickey will no longer advocate for Ashley to not be targeted, because she has been doing that. But it was mostly led by Ava. Will just tagged along because he realized, okay, Ava's not messing with Ashley, so I need to get on that same train. And again, Will played it smart. Meanwhile, Mickey and Morgan, they've been the primary campaigners against Jimmy. Mickey pretty much making it pretty clear she wants Jimmy to go. Morgan reinforcing that because, they're basically twin HOHs. And yeah, They also have some concern. I forgot to mention that Rachel's so attached to Jimmy. And again, as I stated before, even if Jimmy gets evicted, Rachel is still good because not only does she still have fans in the house that want her to at least make it to jury, but she has CBS production on her side, giving her things like cards. Oh boy. But anyway, it's utterly pathetic, man. Because, you go over all of these updates and you realize how pointless it is when it always default back to, well, production's just going to protect Rachel anyway. And then the people that are around her are obviously going to flock to her because they're going to want that same type of can't talk. They're going to want that same type of protection. So it's almost like the updates are pointless, but again, I'll do them nonetheless. Now, the new alliance that Mickey is trying to form, which she kind of shared with Rachel, but Ashley was a part of it, so obviously that was a lie. But I think at the time, Mickey didn't know that Ashley was trying to go against her HOH. But what Mickey is trying to form is an alliance with herself, Will, Ava, and Keanu, Riley, and Kat, while also playing the side thing with Morgan, Zach, and Vince. Or this could be her side thing. Who knows? It's a lot of sloppy play, but I think she knows that Rachel at least won't say anything to Zach and Vince and Morgan about it. And so who knows? I mean, normally you would say Mickey would be in trouble after potentially getting out a close ally, but we know this season that's not the case. I mean, you have to remember, even though Felicia and Sari went against Heisem, they still made it to like final 6, final 5. And if just Sari could win one comp, they would have been good. But funny enough, Felicia was the bigger comp between the two. But yeah, I've already talked about how Mickey wants to even be like a side chick for Riley, even if his main interest is Catherine. And so it wasn't a surprise when she included a Riley and Kat in something new that she wants to form. But ultimately, we'll see what goes down. Right now on the feeds, you have Vince, who's terrified of Rachel, talking to Rachel. And again, he's been talking big talk about potentially going after Rachel, but we know that's not going to matter because Rachel's always going to have the mastermind, some card, an accomplice, some convenient twist that protects her. So she doesn't really need allies as long as she has CBS.